In this video, I will show you how to use curves in Blender. So first of all, let's remove everything as usual, okay? And now I will add with Shift A, I will go into curve. We went only in mesh for now, and now we will start with curves. So we'll not explore everything there. There are some objects that we will not use like surface or metable, something I don't use that much actually. But here curves are really important. So in my opinion, so here we have some objects here. We have two Bezier here. We have Bezier curve and Bezier circle. So I will add them. And first of all, the Bezier curve here, you can see that now if you go into edit mode, you have here some manipulators here, okay? And you can play with them just like that by G, okay? Make a rotation as well, or make a scale, and it will change the shape here of the curve. So here the Bezier, it's the interpolation between the two manipulators like that, the two handles, let's call them handles. Okay, so I can extrude an handle like this, okay, and create more curvy things like that. I can come back to an handle, I can scale it down, scale it up, make a rotation, move it if needed. I can take only the end of here the handle, and like this it will become bigger here in a side or shorter in a side. Like for example, if I want to have an angle here and continue with curve, so I will go with something like that, okay? And now I can see that it goes with an angle and after it makes a curve, okay? So it can be useful like this. And you can play with the possibility of changing the handle types. So now it's Bezier, and if you go with right click, you can go with set handle type. Handle type by default is just aligned here, okay? This color, it's aligned. And you have automatic. Automatic will detect automatically the other handles and will make something as smooth as possible. So if I move that one, you can see that everything will change and it will take always the smoother possibility. So it can be very useful for some tasks. You can change the handle type here to vector, and in that case it makes a full angle, so it will make something like that. And you can still change this angle by going here and there, for example, and make something sharp here if needed. You can play here with the handle types as well. You can go with free and it's the same, it will come back to align, but you can still make here something like that. It wasn't possible with the aligned version, okay? And you can come back to aligned here. It's the basic one, the one that you have by default here in this object. So you have all these possibilities for modeling already, so it can be very useful for that. You have a few here, a few tools that we will use. So E is for extrude, okay? So nothing new here, it's the same tool here, okay? You have the curve pen and you have the draw, okay? So the curve pen will give you a new one at each click, okay? And if you click and drag, you will have something. If you just click, you will have something sharp, okay? And if you click and drag, you will make something smooth, okay? And create here the shape that you want. So it can be very useful as well. You have here the draw option, so as it says, you draw and you have your curve. So here into the draw options, you have some error possibilities. So if you increase that, it will create less as possible here handles, and if you decrease that, it will come back with more handles. Okay, so depends of what you want. The best is to have not too much handles to manage, so far more easier after. For this tool, there is a little option that is very important. I come back to tool here, and you can see that I have my draw tool. By default, it comes to the depth of the cursor, so it will draw a line to this. So if I draw here now, you can see that it will draw like that. Okay, good. But here, what I can do as well is draw on surface, and this one is very handy. Like for example, if I add another object here, let's add maybe a sphere, okay? And I will subdivide it by use the shortcut Control 2, and I will duplicate it, maybe make a bigger one, maybe duplicate it again and make a shorter one, and again duplicate it, just to have an interesting surface to draw on it. Okay, so let's go into our curve, into edit mode here, and come back into our draw tool, and now we'll select the surface mode. And now you can see that when you draw something like that, it will stick on the surface. So it will be very, very good to draw, for example, maybe ivies or things like that, or other plants that grows into a surface, or maybe to draw a road or something like this into a surface. So yeah, very, very powerful one. So this one, after, you can play with other options. So you can see that inside the curve data here, you have some geometry options. By default, we are in 3D. You can play with geometry and add some depth into the bevel. Like this, you will have something that will have here a volume now, okay? You can fill the caps like this, it will fill here. And what you can do when you draw here, what is very good, what I like, I will remove everything here. And when you draw, you have the taper start and the taper end, okay? So what you can do, for example, let's put 0.5 here and 0.5 here. And like this, it will draw and make something less big in the beginning and less big in the end, okay? You can increase the error, decrease the error to have something that sticks more to the surface, okay? For example, like this. And you see that now you have really a curve that sticks on the surface directly. So very, very powerful one. I will just remove that one. Like this, it will not disturb the view. And now you have a curve that sticks to the surface. So it's an interesting one and sometimes useful. I wanted you to know this one. There are options in curve here that you see that we will discover during the other videos. You have the 2D possibility. So the 2D possibility here will make a shape that sticks into the Z axis. So like that, it will be always on the floor, let's say. And with the 2D shape, you can use other methods to draw things. Like for example, if I use 0 here and come back, I will remove all the vertices. So now everything I will draw, for example, if I draw a shape, everything that I will draw will stick into the 2D space here, into the Z axis. What I can do, I can close here I can close the shape that I did with F, just like in edit mode for meshes. So I made here this, and I can use the fill mode here, and I will use both. And like this, now I have a surface directly. So can be very powerful for that. And we can increase, for example, the extrude option to have something that will make something like this, okay? So I will have something, yeah, it's because of this that I made when I used the draw tool. So I will come back with another. It's because of this one. If I come back to the tool, and here I don't want something like before. It's because of this and this we didn't have the right shape. So I come back here. Now I draw everything. Okay. And I fill this space here by selecting, maybe remove that one and selecting these two ones and make a F here to fill everything. So now if I use the fill mode, you can see that now I can have here a volume that I can play with the extrude option, or maybe with the here the depth option to have a little bevel into it. So can be very powerful as well. And if you have two curves that intersect each other, and they have to be close for that, so I just duplicate that here, scale it down, and put it inside, and you see that now it will create a hole. So very useful to make some interesting shapes like that very quickly. What you can do as well when you have interesting shape, you can convert it to a mesh. And now you will have a mesh. But here you can see that you have a lot of vertices that create some triangles on top. So you will have to rework on this to have something really clear. But except that it works very well here. You have a volume very quick, not complicated to manage. And we will see how to make a logo with that. So what we will do now, I can show you the other objects that we have. We have the curve. By default, the Bezier curve. We have the circle here, and in edit mode, here it's just automatic handles that creates a circle. Okay, and if you move it, it will change the shape directly like that. Okay, so very common one. You have here NURBS curve. So this one, it's more like dots that you extrude, okay? And if you extrude a dot, it will create the shape like that. But not very easy to manage this one to create the shape that you want. Actually, I prefer another one. The NURBS circle exists as well. So with dots and not handles. And you have the paths that I really like to play with, and we will have a full video into this, so you can really make a better shape, because the curve follows the last extrusion compared to the NURBS. So yeah, it's a little better to create nice shapes. Okay, good. So now we have the possibility to draw things like that, and I will show you examples on how to use curves, because there are a lot of things that you can do with curves, and they are very, very powerful. So we'll see that into the next 3 videos. The first one, it will be using curves as path.